Last week was voluntary. This week's mandatory. Minicamp starts. Haason Reddick is still a no-show. The holdout officially begins. What does that mean for the New York Jets? Jets! All right, welcome in. We're here to talk a little Haason Reddick news. He did not show up to mandatory practices, which began today. Well, technically the practices start tomorrow, but the beginning of mandatory stuff is today. Haason Reddick was a no-show. What does this mean for the New York Jets? I want to get into that in just a second. But if you guys haven't done so already, we have decided on which game we're going to be doing for our group buy. Myself, O'Leary, and Green Bean. We will be going to the Broncos game, week 4. Hopefully we're facing some Zach Wilson-led Broncos, because I would be licking at the chops to see this defense go against our once hopeful franchise quarterback. It would really go a long way. If you're interested in that, we do have a limited amount of tickets. Link in the description down below, as well as in the pinned comment. But we will move on and talk a little bit about this Haason Reddick drama llama news that we've got going on, and is it really a big deal? Now, last week we did hear from Robert Saleh at his press conference post voluntary OTAs, and here's what Robert Saleh had to say.
Robert, has Haason Reddick been here at all this spring?
He has not.
You know why?
No.
He was pretty, before he left Philly, he was pretty adamant that he wanted a new contract. Has that been relayed to you guys?
I don't know that. I don't know. That'd probably be more of a question for Joe.
Is it, I know it's voluntary, but is it concerning he's new to the program? Is it a concern at all?
No, obviously as a coach, you want everybody here all the time, but it is voluntary, and I'm thankful for the guys who are here putting in their work, and those are the guys who I'm going to focus on.
Have you had any communication with Haason?
I have not.
Is that unusual?
No. Like I said,
player?
Like I said, for me, I'm focused on the guys who are here, and Haason's a pro. He's been in this league a while. He's produced at a very high level for a long time. He's got his routine. If it makes people feel better, we know where he's at. We know what he's doing, and we know he's working his tail off to get where he needs to get to have a productive 24 season.
Do you expect to see him next week?
I do.
Before we get into the rest of this video, I just want to thank the sponsor of the channel, Cuts. They reached out, they said, look, Ryan, you're beautiful. We want to put you in some of our clothing, and all you got to do is talk honestly about it to your audience, and we'll give them a 20% off promo code. So I'll link that down below in the description. But guys, this stuff is super comfortable. You've probably seen some of your favorite athletes wear this. A lot of their warm-up gear winds up being like a Cuts clothing. Super breathable, 4-way stretch. I'm a big comfy guy. I wear gym shorts, sweatpants, t-shirts all the time, but the issue is I can't really look good when I do that. I just kind of look like I'm slumming around at my house. So not always the best case when it comes to trying to look fashionable, but Cuts clothing actually looks really good. I can wear this stuff to work, and it's dad approved. I can tell you guys, first and foremost, I have 2 kids under 2, and the youngest one is like a little koala bear. She latches onto me, she hugs onto the side, which I absolutely love, but the hands tend to yank and pull at the collar. And with all my other shirts, I've got these finger marks and stretch marks everywhere, but this snaps right back to where it belongs. They also advertise this stuff as wrinkle-free, which is helpful because I fell asleep in this last night, not realizing I needed to shoot an ad for this today. And lo and behold, it is wrinkle-free. So guys, I cannot speak highly enough about this. Also got the joggers, have been very comfortable in that as well. Like literally, you can wear it to work, barbecues, out and about, and you're gonna look good while doing it, and you're gonna feel comfortable and comfy while doing it. So if you want to support the channel, help support the sponsors of the channel, link in the description down below, as well as in the pinned comment, cutsclothing.com/JetsTalk. That's cutsclothing.com/JetsTalk. Get you 20% off with promo code JetsTalk. Guys, thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. I said at the time, that does not smell right. This is not great. Now, I understand it's voluntary workouts, and there shouldn't be any reason to get all worked up because apparently he skipped it last year too. That's fine, but we are now in the mandatory portion when Robert Saleh said he expects him to be here. And then it also goes back to the whole, hey, we didn't have any conversation since we traded for a star edge rusher and I'm a defensive-minded head coach. Brr, brr, brr. This is so frustrating. This is stemming from the fact that Haason Reddick wants a brand new contract. Right now, he is slated to make $15 million over the course of this year. He is going to be fined $40,000 for each mandatory practice that he winds up missing. I guess today probably counts, so this is probably notch 1 in the $40,000 dinger for him, unless that's only like the training camp portion. Either way, he is going to start getting fined. Now, how do I expect this to play out? Well, Haason Reddick is the 19th highest paid edge right now at $15 million. Bryce Huff is just 2 ticks above him at number 17. He has 50.5 sacks and 13 forced fumbles over the course of the last 4 seasons. This dude has been an absolute game wrecker. So when you're talking to me and you're saying, hey, does this guy, should he get a contract? Should the Jets pay him a bunch of money to produce on the field for the New York Jets? And I would say, look, this guy is absolutely worth a crazy ton of money. It's the same sort of argument that I would have for a DJ Reed. DJ Reed deserves a brand new contract, and he is absolutely a stud worthy of that brand new contract. He's going to get paid handsomely. Same thing with Haason Reddick. He deserves a brand new contract. Now, the nitty-gritty portion of this is the NFL. It is still a business. And when you have these opportunities as far as contracts go to extract some value in a hard-capped sport, you kind of have to do that. Now, the Jets only gave up a 2026 third-round pick that could become a second-round pick if certain conditions are met. But realistically, third-round pick in 2026. Now, if the Jets were to let Haason Reddick walk at the end of this year, the Jets more than likely, with him having a good season, would get a comp third-round pick back in 2026, basically meaning we did not trade anything for him and just took on the salary of that $15 million for the year that the Eagles would have otherwise been forced to cut. Now, for us, it is critically important to get him in the building. And this contract isn't really fully guaranteed. It's fully guaranteed in the sense that if he plays in each game, that money is guaranteed. So maybe there's a situation where the Jets don't have to necessarily extend Haason Reddick, but they could just say, hey, we're going to fully guarantee you this contract for this year, regardless of injury or anything like that. $15 million, boom, write it in the checkbook. You've at least got that safe and secure. That's what I would do, I think, if I were the New York Jets, in terms of wanting to sign him beyond this season. Now, he is getting a little bit up there in age. I don't particularly endorse the idea of signing him to a big lucrative contract. We heard Connor Hughes say something along the lines of he's looking for $25 to $30 million. There were, 3, maybe 4 guys that got $28 million plus, and like at the very top, Nick Bosa being the highest there, over $30 million a year. Haason Reddick's probably looking at that saying, hey, I am absolutely a game wrecker for these last 4 years. I am deserving of that level of contract. And to that, I would just say, yes, you absolutely are. The issue is the Jets are not in a financial spot right now to necessarily do that. And maybe the argument is, hey, you need this guy on the field. What if he holds out and just doesn't play for you? And to that, I would say, I don't think he's actually going to hold out from games in the season. I think we are absolutely going to be able to see him. He's not going to go and give up $15 million and be in a contract year and look for a contract in 2025. What team is going to pay him a monster contract after having taken a year off from a team that has you under contract? I just don't see that being the case. Now, Robert Saleh not talking to a defensive player, bonkers to me. Absolutely makes no sense. Joe Douglas, I said this at the time, I don't think this is a contract you necessarily want to extend or restructure if you are looking at this Haason Reddick deal. And that's because you got a lot of guys, a lot of money invested into this team, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. You've got Quinnen Williams under contract. You just drafted Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald in the first round of the last 2 drafts. So you have that young pipeline of players right now. It makes perfect sense to have a high-priced veteran for this year. But then moving forward, how much money are you going to have to push off into the future when you have guys like Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, not to mention JJ coming up on a contract and all that sort of stuff? Are you concerned that you may not be able to re-sign some of those guys? Are you okay with allowing them to walk? Because the other side of this coin is saying, hey, the Jets have a Super Bowl window while Aaron Rodgers is here. I have been around 34 years right now, and I've watched the Jets, let's call it 25, for what I've been like consciously remembering and whatnot. But I have not seen any good quarterback play outside of 1 year of Ryan Fitzpatrick and like the 2000s era of Chad Pennington and like a year or 2 of Vinny Testaverde. Like that is it. And those are like, we have one guy that has gone over 4,000 yards in our franchise's history in the passing game, and that was Joe Namath when there was 3 less games. So this has been an abysmal quarterback room for the better part of like all of Jet fanhood. So I understand the fans that want to come out and say, hey, we need to go all in right now. Screw what happens 3 years down the line. And I would say I do tend to fall a little bit more into that side of things. And I want to go all in while we have Rodgers. I'm not necessarily looking to destroy what we have in the future. And I think Joe Douglas has set us up in a really nice situation where you can say, we have one of the best rosters in the NFL. We are in a halfway decent salary cap position based on some maneuverability that we can do right now. But do we want to absolutely blow the load when you have these guys in the hopper? The nice thing is the Jets do have a lot of time here when it comes to the future of this team for this season. You don't have to necessarily sign Reddick to a contract extension right now. You could guarantee him his money. That way he's feeling a little bit better about his financial status for this year. But you can go into this season and you can say, hey, look, Reddick, you've been doing a great job. We're 7 weeks into the season, 8 weeks into the season. We would love to extend you a little bit further if you feel like that's what you want to do. Or maybe he's just not, playing the way he was the last few years. Or maybe the Jets season gets derailed. You can kind of play a little bit of cat and mouse with this sort of situation, because I don't think he's going to hold out and miss out on that $15 million. Now, the other side of things that I would really like to do, and I'm not entirely sure if it's 100% possible based on the way this contract is written. So if you look at it, there's 3 void years added on to the end of this deal, which means his contract is going to come to an end officially during the offseason. I don't know if that means he technically is becoming an unrestricted free agent or if it is counting as like a, hey, we have to kind of cut him. Now, the difference there is if we're going to be allowed to place the franchise tag on him, because I would rather let Haason Reddick ball out this year and then apply the franchise tag on him after the season, which is the average of the top 5 at your position over the course of the last 5 years, which is going to be significantly cheaper than paying this guy like a top 5 edge rusher for this year, in this season. So you kind of see where the financial side of things come into play. Now, in the event you cannot franchise tag him, you have to be all right with just letting him leave, because there's no way he's going to restructure a contract or build onto a contract extension with you after the season when you forced him to play in a final contract year. So if you are going to go the route of I'm playing hardball with Reddick because we want to kind of preserve the future, then you have to be okay with potentially letting him leave if you cannot franchise tag him after the season. So guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think of this Haason Reddick holdout? Do you think the Jets ultimately pay him? Do you want the Jets to ultimately pay him? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.
Jets! Jets! Jets!